some stretches that you can go through if you're a runner or anybody that's suffering from an over tight hip flexor. You have a couple of muscles that originate on the spine, fill the interior of the pelvis, and cross the hip joint. So those muscles, starting in here, is psoas, and it fills in with iliacus on the inside of your pelvis, on the iliac crest, and it crosses your hip joint and is your primary hip flexors. So if you're a runner, like I'm a runner, and I know a lot of people suffer from this because you build up your core while you're running, and everybody seems to want that six-pack, so everybody tends to do all of these core works and crunches and everything. And all of that gets locked down super tight, and that can actually lead to you getting injuries while you're running. Not fun, because then you can't run, right? Okay, so here's a series of stretches that you can do. You hold these anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds, relax, and do them again. So it'll be hip flexor stretches, and then side oblique stretches, and maybe a little bit more. So what we're going to do now is get into what I call pigeon, which is a typical yoga pose. To see it from the front would be like this. You bring this knee in front of you, bend your leg, and you put your hip, you put this hip towards the floor. And that foot is straight out behind you, and you can lean forward all the way out, or just on your forearms, or just sitting up like this, but make sure your back is as straight as you can get it. Side view of that same stretch. Again, bent leg out in front of you, this leg straight out behind you, and get into it as deep as you can. There's also the option to bring this leg straight across, where you're more centered, and then lean forward into that stretch. That's more of an outer hip stretch for this one. But if you're really focusing on pushing this hip toward the floor, it's a really great hip flexor stretch. Another one is the typical runner's lunge. So you have a leg that's bent at 90 degrees. This leg is as straight as you can possibly get it, pushing that hip toward the floor. You can stay up here with your hands up on your knee, or you can go even deeper and bring it down here so that you're getting an inner thigh stretch on the bent leg as well. So that's a great hip flexor. Again, on the floor, there's one called bow. So you lay on the floor on your stomach, grab your ankles, or you can grab for your toes, and you're going to lift with your back muscles, and that opens up the front, your chest, your hip flexor, all of it. You can also do a quad stretch when you're here, deeper quad stretch. Sideline quad stretch like this. Bring it back a little bit further behind your leg and give yourself a hip flexor stretch that way. Just a few ideas for the hip flexors. Now, because your rectus femoris does cross your hip joint as well, that is an important one to stretch, right along with iliacus and psoas, also known as iliopsoas when it's just considered one. Standing quad stretch. Grab foot or your ankle, whichever one is more comfortable. Find your balance. Pull that heel to your butt. You can do a deeper one if you want to do a dancing Shiva. That'll give you a hip flexor stretch too. The side of the body. This will stretch out the entire vastus lateralis, ITB, TFL, obliques, a little bit of lats. Put one leg behind the other. This is the side you're going to stretch, the side that is behind the other foot. Lift your arm up and lean over. And really push those hips to the side. You should feel the stretch all the way from here, all the way down, if you've planted your heel, down to the side of your knee. And then you would just switch sides. Same thing. Hips away. It's a great stretch all down that side. So, those are some stretch ideas for anybody that's suffering from any type of peeing on the lateral thigh, vastus lateralis, hip flexor, quads, if you're a runner or if you're just somebody who's really active. It's always a good idea to stretch your core. Don't just strengthen it up, stretch it too, and then make sure that you focus a little bit of strength training on your back as well. Do Supermans. If you want to see those real quick, I'll show you a good way to strengthen up your back. Any type of work where you're doing lifts from the floor up like this, or Supermans, where you've got your legs and your arms out. You could do X work, leans, flutters, anything that's going to work your entire back would be good. I hope you found this helpful, and if you would like to see more like this, click the subscribe button. And I ask that you please support pediatric cancer research, and if you have any questions or any need of showing how to stretch a different area of the body, comment below and I will give you a video of that. Bye.